Welcome to my channel. Today's video is all about candles, and I'm going to show you 3 really cool candle hacks that you can recreate at home. So if you want to see that, make sure to stay tuned for the rest of the video. Also give it a thumbs up if you enjoy it, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more DIY and home decor projects. And let's get started. So I've been seeing these Twisty Bendy taper candles everywhere on social media for a while now, and I just had to DIY them myself. I recently saw that they're being sold on Etsy as well. They were so viral and trendy, but super easy to make. First time I saw this was on Lone Fox's channel here on YouTube, and I'll make sure to link his video in the description box for you guys. The first thing you want to do is to get your taper candles in warm water for about 15 minutes. I used a glass dish to soak my candles in, but I highly recommend you use a vase or a jar for this step. Because first off, my candles were kind of floating, so I had to use a cutting board to push them completely in the water. Also, my warm water got cool too fast, and I had to actually re-pour warm water a few times. And now I wish that I had just changed my dish to a vase. It would have been much easier. Anyways, after your candles have soaked in warm water for about 15 minutes, they're really soft and bendy, and that's basically how you can shape them however you like. And yes, it's that easy, you just need warm water. Keep in mind that not all taper candles work for this. Apparently they have to be refined paraffin. I'll link the ones I use in the description box for you guys. So for the first one, I used the wooden rolling pin to flatten my candle. Then I just bent it to almost a chair shape, and I love the minimal look of it. I had to try the basic twisty candle for the second design. I also flattened this one with my rolling pin, leaving the top and bottom untouched. Then while holding the two ends, I simply twisted it a few times, and that's it for this one. I used 2 candles for this third design. I shaped the bottom portion of both to almost a half circle shape and let the top portion stand tall. Then I used a toothpick to connect them together on the bottom. You could also glue them together if you prefer. Then I just reshaped them some more to make sure they can stand up on their own. Next, I recreated Drew from Lone Fox's design that basically is a circle shape in the middle. I just love the look of this one and had to have it for myself. For the next design, I took one of the taper candles and essentially created a knot with it. I think this one is my favorite out of all of them just because it looks so cool. And last but not least, I took 2 candles and twisted them together around each other. Then I placed them on the counter and leveled their bottom portion, again so they can stand straight on their own. And you know, I could have created like 50 of these, but you get the idea. This DIY candle hack is just so much fun and easy to do, and the possibilities are endless. You can bend, twist, and even cut them however you want. So just have fun with it. For the second project, I got inspiration from a blog post I found on Pinterest on how to create stack candles. Then I thought that I could DIY this with my old candles that I can no longer burn instead of new candle wax. I will have the link to the blog post in the description box. Make sure to go check it out. So you want to get a pot of simmering water and then place your candle jars inside. This will slowly melt the candle wax. In the meantime, I prepared some cupcake liners and also a piece of parchment paper on a cookie sheet. Once my candle waxes were melted, I took them out of the simmering water and used a tweezer to pull out the old candle wicks. Then I use a tongue to grab the jars and I slowly poured the melted candle wax into my molds. I repeated the same process a few times with the different old candles that I had. I'm so glad I didn't throw them away. Also, make sure to be careful when handling the hot wax and the hot candle jars in this DIY. Then I let these sit for a bit until the wax is not running anymore. But you want to make sure that you proceed to the next steps before the wax is completely hardened. I started by removing the cupcake liners from my newly molded candles. Then I used a toothpick and slowly created a small hole in them so I can get the candle wick through. Now, if your candle wax is completely cooled down and hardened, it's most likely going to break when you try to make that hole. You can see that it actually happens to me. So I just repeated this with all my pieces. Next, I used a lighter to melt a small amount of wax on each piece so the next one can basically attach to it. Once I was done, I cut the wick down on my first set of stacked candles. We're ready. So for the wax that was in my cookie sheet, I used my exacto knife to cut out random triangle shapes. And the rest of the process is the same as before. Now I couldn't find my cookie cutters for this project, but I highly recommend that you use them for this DIY. You're just going to get much cleaner shapes and lines as opposed to using an exacto knife. I still loved how all of my stack candles turned out, and I'm glad that I was able to reuse my old candles this way. For the last candle hack DIY, I wanted to achieve a more minimal look on some of my candle jars. I love the smell of them, but not necessarily the logos and the stickers. So I basically used some burlap and jute rope that I've had from my previous projects for this. I cut a piece of burlap about ½ an inch longer than the circumference of the candle jar, and I used my hot glue to glue that down. And this perfectly covered the stickers. Now if your piece of burlap is not wide enough, you can wrap it around a few times until it covers everything. But make sure that your burlap is not taller than the candle jar, because you don't want anything to catch on fire. Then I used some jute rope around and on the burlap and made a knot. Next, I created a bow with the rope and glued that down as well. And that pretty much concludes this project. Super easy, but I just love the boho minimalistic look of these candle jars now. I think they look so much cleaner as decor pieces on display. I hope that you enjoyed these candle hack DIYs and recreate your own versions of them. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in my next video.